Christian here, and I wanted to wish you all a Happy New Year's 2022. Darn, it's already 2022. I'm 30. I just turned 30 this past November. It feels really strange that we are now in the second year of the 2020s. And looking back on 2021, I think this was another great year for my channel. I overextended myself. I did a lot more than what I should have, but I enjoyed every moment of it. And I just want to flat out state, as you've heard me say many times beforehand, 2022 definitely won't be the same because I got burned out many different times this year. I wanted to go all out for my channel's 5th anniversary, and I'm happy to say that I have nothing planned to see in January unless I get a chance to chase BSOR in the snow, and nothing is really scheduled until February. So what are my goals for the channel in 2022 before we go on with the usual stuff? I want to shoot less. I know you've heard me say that before, but I definitely need to start shooting less. The constant videos every week was fun for the time it lasted, but I definitely don't want to always be editing videos. Like I said, I overextended myself this year, but I thought the reward was worth it. And this year, the channel, I really boomed. I reached 2,000 subscribers. I finally converted to 4K. The stuff I covered in my neck of the woods and even the Midwest and the South was fantastic. Now for once, and yes, for once, you're actually going to hear what my goals are this year, focus-wise, for the channel. And it is... Sorry, there's been some technical difficulties. Sorry, I had to put that gag in there because it's always been a long-standing thing that I don't really release my plan because of unforeseen circumstances and all that other fun stuff. First off, the first big event this year is going to be the Welcome Back 1309 Charter in February. I am signed up for the Winter Charter. As of right now, nothing else is in the schedule until May, which is Steam in the Valley. I'd like to focus on 765 again this year. I will probably be doing a full weekend at the Valley and a Sunday this year. I'd like to focus on 1225 this year. If it's just North Pole Express trips, again, that's fine. Reading and Northern will also be on our radar. This is 425's last year until our 1472 day, and if I could somehow swing in 113, that would be cool. 60's definitely on my list this year, as she is getting near a 1472 day. And in case you weren't going to guess, of course 1309 is in my schedule this year. I'm actually only really planning for 8 to 10 videos this year, Steam-wise. Because like I said, I gotta tone it back. I want to keep this hobby interesting. It was fun going all out, but I want to try and make it 15 max, but I want to try and keep it down to about 10 videos. One thing that is going to continue for the future of the channel is one of my favorite things to do is at the beginning of the year, review the last year. So coming up next is the best of rail fanning. There will be, as of right now, 3 videos. The first one is going to be the non-4K version, which will be January of last year. And then you'll have 2 4K videos, Best of Rail Fanning Part 2 and Best of Rail Fanning Part 3. And I'm really going to try to squeeze everything I did this year into 3 videos. There might be a Part 4 because of everything I did. So now that you actually know my plans for once this year, there is a little bit of flexibility. There may be other stuff included, but I really plan on keeping it down to that focus. Now it's time to get into what you all watched the New Year's video for, and it's going to be different this year. I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite videos from 2021, my top 5 honorable mentions of 2021, but because I've now been around for 5 years and we're going into my 6th year of my channel, I'm now going to critique my top 5 favorite adventures, my top 5 favorite videos from my channel, and my top 5 least favorite videos. So sit tight, grab a bag of popcorn, whatever else, and we are going to do my first 2021 in review video and my channel in review for the past 5 years. Alright, so now we're going to do my top 5 favorite videos from 2021. My number 5 is going to be the Western Maryland 1309 A Christmas Express Return Merry Christmas video 2021. When I originally wrote the list a week ago, I wasn't expecting to include this one, but hands down, how could I not include this one on my top 5 favorites? It is a return that was 7 years in the making, and for my channel, it was something that me, Chris, and Go were planning in December of 2016. And it was something that we actually solidified our plans in January of 2021 by buying tickets to ride and having a chase plan. Yeah. Chase plan obviously changed drastically because they didn't go all the way to Frostburg. They only went to Helmstedter's Curve, but it was a fantastic weekend. The first day was overcast, which I wanted to get some shots, and the second day we did have some fantastic lighting at times, but clouds definitely came in. 1309 was just fantastic. It was a lot better in my expectations than what I thought it was. The Western Maryland Scenic Railroad is beautiful. I know many people are going to go visit the 1309 this year, and it is well justified being in the mountains. When you go there, you will enjoy it. I look forward to many more adventures. And the video, especially at nighttime, even though it had a Christmas theme, there was a little bit of an eerie feeling because I've always said the Norfolk and Western hooter was the perfect Halloween whistle. This is the third time I've actually heard an N&W hooter, and it sounded fantastic. And 1309 itself is a fantastic machine, and it's soon to probably become one of my favorite. It was also a fantastic adventure with some great friends. My number 4 video would have to be Southern 630, Summertime in the Tennessee Valley, July to August 2021. This was a completely last-minute adventure. For those who don't know, I've been looking for a new job for a while because I wanted a new job for reasons I'm not going to go into. When I knew I had my new gig, I flat out knew I was going to go back to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. And I was like, March's video was great, but I didn't think it lived up to the Southern 4501 video from last year, so I thought, how will this video live up to it? Trying to get shots I hadn't got of the 630, trying new angles and all that fun stuff, and of course, summer lighting, even though at times it was hazy. It was just a fantastic video. I hit up some of my favorite locations at the museum. The results were worth it, and it was just a fantastic time. 630 still wearing that steamboat whistle, and it was just great. I thought the shots really turned out fantastic, and I thought it was a fantastic video as a send-off for my last adventure with the job I've been with since the start of the channel. My number 3 video this year would have to be the Norfolk and Western 611, The Return of an American Icon, June 2021. Ah yes, this video is definitely going to make it into my top 5. Seeing how last year I pretty much focused on Strasburg for reasons of the pandemic, this year I made it very clear I didn't really want to return to Strasburg that much, but when I heard the 611 was coming back, I wanted to at least return there twice. My first venture out there was probably my best adventure with the 611 this year. My first time capturing 611 in 4K, going off the spots that I had shot at with 475, 90, and 89 over the past year, I wanted to combine those shots with 611 while respecting the property owner. Permission was obtained for where private property was, but I just thought this time, even better than the Charter, 611 put on a fantastic show. Yes, I think 611 did a better job than what it did at the Charter. And there is one point in that video where I think I've heard the best stack talk of a steam locomotive leaving Groff's Grove. While it featured 90 that weekend, the lighting was fantastic, 611 did fantastic, and if 611 operates at Strasburg this year, I'll make the trek down. I had a great time with friends again, and sometimes that's what makes these videos, is the behind-the-scenes stuff with friends. It was just all in all a fantastic time. My number 2 video, which might shock a few of you, would have to be the Iowa Interstate 6988, the last runs for now, October 2021. This was my second favorite video from this year. Wait, what? This wasn't your first? Yes. And not because I didn't feel it was worthy of the first title. It definitely was. From a friend and a source, I got notified 2 weeks beforehand, and this was the first adventure I took with my new job. I didn't even think twice about it, because I knew this was going to be the last chance I had to document my favorite steam locomotive, the Iowa Interstate 6988. Day 1 was overcast, but it was cold both days, and typically I'm used to shooting the 6988 on hot summer days, and I mean beyond hot summer days in Iowa weather. And shooting it in fall weather where it was actually freezing, I really was not prepared. I was not expecting Iowa to be that cold, and I don't know why. Because I've been out to the Midwest before in the fall, and yeah, she put on a fantastic show. I think this was the best show I've ever seen the 6988 put on. It was a weird consist. Day 1 had a coach. Day 2 had 2 coaches, but both days she had a freight train. Knowing that these could very well be the possible last runs of the 6988 with a very uncertain future, the crew did great. We got everything. The Grand Trunk Western 6 chime, the Guatemalan 3 chime, the air horn for a crossing, Chinese 5 chime. Trying out new locations I've never shot with the 6988, trying to go all out. It was fantastic. And it hands down is probably one of my favorite videos. In my top 10 list, if I had a top 10 list, it is one of my favorite videos I've ever shot. And I will definitely, if Steam does ever return to the Iowa Interstate, whether if it is in the form of 7081 or 6988, you can count on me being there. It was a great send-off, especially the last 2 runs of the day of 6988 running up Kellogg Hill. This is also the only time I've ever seen 6988 do a round-trip excursion because they wide the engine at the South Amana. Why? And they wide the train at Newton. My number 1 video is going to have to be, for 2021, the Nickel Plate Road 765 Steam in the Valley 2021 edition. Wait, what? 765 made it to the list over 1225? Yes. I know why. 2 years built up of wanting to focus on Steam in the Valley. Now, there was a bad taste in my mouth after the 2018 Steam in the Valley. If anyone knows, in 2016, after an incident, security really ramped up. But in 2017, I found it still reasonable. In 2018, I could not get over just how much of a mess it was. Even my grandfather commented to me, "Holy cow, I hope we never return here." I skipped it in 2019 and always regretted it because I heard how great the security was in 2019, and this year I thought somehow they were more reasonable. This was my channel's 5th anniversary chase video, so I wanted to go all out for it. I wanted to recapture shots with my still camera that I never got with still because I used to, screenshot my videos, and I wanted to more or less focus on new spots, get shots that I'd never gotten before, and I just wanted to shoot this video out of the ballpark. And in my personal opinion, it was worth it. 765 is the reason that I am standing here right now recording a top 5 video. 765 is the reason I've traveled across the country and have shot as much Steam as what I have. So 765, I really wanted to focus on when it came to Steam in the Valley this year. And another point I definitely want to point out there is that one thing that has been mentioned to me is the first 3 years of my channel, I did focus on 765 a lot, and a lot of people knew me for my 765 and 1225 videos, where the focus of that kind of shifted since 2019. So to me, I wanted to give it all I got. Shooting in locations that I have dreamed of shooting at, to changing locations on the fly and literally doing things in a different fashion. It all worked out and it was fantastic. The lighting was fantastic. The time with friends was fantastic. And overall, I even walked away at the end of the second weekend going, this hands down is going to be one of my favorite videos I've ever shot. I don't know how to put it. It just had that aurora, and it's definitely one video I look back on this year, and it is one that will probably stand out to me for years because it is one of my favorite videos I've ever shot, and I'm glad at just how well it turned out. That's my top 5 favorite videos of 2021. Alrighty here, now we're on to the top 5 honorable mentions of 2021, and to start off, we're going to go with the Reading and Northern 425, The Return of the Fall Foliage Rambles is my number 5 of my top 5 honorable mentions. What? 425 didn't make it to my top 5 favorites this year? Yes, because I kind of expanded my horizon this year upon the engines I typically shoot. As much as I love 425, it isn't my top 5 favorite. The Fall Foliage video this year was fantastic, and over time, I've come to appreciate it more, but to me, it didn't live up to 2018 and 2019. Of course, without spending 2 weekends there, how could I live up anything to 2019? I didn't like the whistle choice this year, except the N&W Hooter. I seem to always have the luck of catching 425 whenever they wear 3 chimes, whereas the 2 weekends beforehand, they had the legendary Boston and Maine 6 chime and the Reading 6 chime. But I'm not going to complain because 425 put on a fantastic show. I had a list of shot ideas planned out, and I actually originally was planning on going for 2 weekends, and then 6988 came out of nowhere. But from what I did get, I was highly satisfied. I got shots of 425 that I've dreamed of getting for years. I redid a few shots, and you know what? It was fantastic, and it was honorary of a top 5 mention, and it was my favorite 425 video from this year. My number 4 video is the CNJ 113 Chris Bost Benefit Excursion, June 2021. When this was announced, I hadn't seen 113 pull an excursion since 2018, and I thought for a switcher, she is impressive. She's probably my favorite switcher operational. So when I found out that she was going to be doing her first excursion from Minersville to Port Clinton in years, yeah, you knew I was going to be there. This, hands down, probably was the most packed excursion I had seen this year. It actually gave me Big Boy and 844 flashbacks. Holy cow, wow, yes. The day started out, it was another bipolar weather day like the 1225 Crow and Highlander. Sunny, but by the time they reached Port Clinton, it was raining, and it pretty much rained until they got back to Minersville. But getting 113 in those rare angles of her actually facing south was pretty cool, because 113, I believe, is always facing north. But 113 just put on a fantastic show. Wanting to try new locations out, it was just one heck of an excursion, and I had a lot of fun with my friend GT Railfan Productions, who I saw for the first time in 2 years because of this chase. It was just fantastic. My number 3 video is Conway Scenic 7470 Winter Steam in the Mountains, January 2021. Now, I'm not going to lie, the only chase of 2020 that went as planned was Steam in the Snow. But I was highly disappointed with it because it was my first time chasing out there. I wasn't really sure what to do, and yeah. This, on the other hand, I knew what I was getting into, and I knew what I was going to try and do. The morning was a mess because of the snow, but the afternoon when the sun came out, it was just a great time. I pretty much got and redid every shot of 7470 I was not satisfied with the year prior, or that I had missed because of poor planning in 2020. And this time, I think it was way better ran, because if you've ever chased Steam in the Snow and you've ever seen it, you know the way how it's run doesn't make any sense, but hey, it works out. It sells out every year, and Mass Bay is satisfied with it. But this winter Steam event, they actually got back before dark, so I was able to get some unique shots of 7470. And seeing how I'm not starting out this year with 7470, it was a great way to start off 2021, because that is a neat engine, and that is hands down a very scenic line. Beautiful line. I will say though, I didn't have my camera cleaning equipment. And at one point, I didn't realize, when me and Lane's trains were hiking into a spot, I didn't realize my camera lens got wet. When I did realize it, and it had snow in it, I thought I wiped it off to the best of my ability, but yeah, you could definitely see the orbs in the footage. This was also my last Steam video I shot with my 1080p camera before upgrading to the 4K one. My number 2 honorable mention is tied. It is the Norfolk and Western 475, a fall photo charter in paradise, and Norfolk and Western 475 Steam in the Snow. I was mixed on which video to include when I realized I both like them a lot. And actually, this is the first time this has happened, and this is the first time there's been a period of that long. The one adventure at Strasbourg I overlooked this year and kind of forget, because it was my last planned visit to Strasbourg to kind of keep the videos moving, and because I wanted to go all out, was the 475 Steam in the Snow. When 475 debuted in 2021, she was wearing a shop custom built 3 chime, and it actually sounded really fantastic on 475. I was originally scheduled to go down for the Long John special. When I got a date, got stood up, and yeah. So I decided I was going to go the weekend after, when I knew my good friend, the Nuga Railfan, and Dossett Yard Productions were going to be there. While I didn't really get anything that special, I finally got second steam locomotive out of state in the snow. I have no luck when it comes down to shooting steam locomotives in the snow. Either I go too early, or it's a freakishly warm winter when they're operating, and yeah. So 475 in the snow was great. The first day was windy, overcast, and was freezing. And then Nuga and Dossett decided to stay and chase 475 another day. We had a fantastic time together. I got some killer shots of 475, even though I didn't really go out of my way to try and get any special shots of it. I just went with basic shots, and I was okay with that. But there is one shot where I've seen 475 put out the most smoke I've ever seen her put out. It was a great time with friends, and it was definitely honorably worth mentioning. The other 475 video was from the HTP charter. I was highly impressed with both HTP charters. I thought HTP did a fantastic job of combining run-bys, static shots with period dressed actors to run-bys with period dressed actors, and I thought they did a fantastic job at the Everett Railroad and at the Strasburg Railroad. This photo charter was my favorite photo charter at the Strasburg Railroad. Starting off at a spot that isn't Verdant View Farms, we got 475 with 2 consists over the day, and we also got the 89 that day. For the first time ever, I got to hear a Southern Pacific 6 chime, which is one of my favorite whistles, and regardless what anyone says, it sounded fantastic on 475. I think 475 also went the fastest I've ever seen her go that day during some of the run-bys, and it was like, holy cow. 89, on the other hand, every time they passed us that day, they put on a show, which is typical for Strasburg crews, but I think 89, at some points, stole the thunder. And she sounded great with the Pennsylvania Railroad Banshee whistle on her. That was also the last day in my 20s, and I spent it again with great friends, and it was just an all-around fantastic time. My number 1 honorable mention. Yes, it does make it onto one of my top 5 videos this year. The Père Marquette 1225 North Pole Express 2021. The one event that hit me the most that got canceled last year was chasing 1225. It is my favorite Berkshire. Even in 2019, when I didn't really chase 765, I chased 1225, even though I canceled the fall foliage trip for 611. Yeah, that's on me. I was originally planning 2 weekends when I realized the second weekend was just insane and I needed time off to prepare for the 1309 video and to edit the 1225 video. But the video when I went was great. Another video with the Nooga Railfan, and this was the first time I actually included a vlog with people in it. It was a very Nooga Christmas with the Nooga Railfan and Thomas. While 1225 didn't have the classic North Pole consist that we've honestly got to know over the past 3 years, I think she still put on a show. Now this year they were harping safety, and I'd heard horror stories about the security this year. Not really sure what to expect. I think 1225 did fantastic. I didn't think the security was that bad. They're actually friendly at many spots. I tried to get new shots. I tried to redo old shots with my new 4K camera. The only thing I missed this year was Carlin, and I know I'll hit that up next year for the 2022 North Pole Express season. The North Pole Express is the one excursion that gets written into my schedule every year. It, to me, is one of my Christmas videos, and next year for sure it will be one of my Christmas videos. It was a fantastic time, and it definitely was worthy of being the number 1 of my top 5 honorable mentions. Alright, so this list is now going to be my top 5 favorite videos of the past 5 years. Now that I've been around for 5 years and I just completed my 5th anniversary of my channel, as we go into my 6th year, I figured, you know what, this would probably be the perfect time to do these next lists. Now, I will do this again probably if I'm still doing these types of vlogs for my 10th anniversary. My top 5 favorite videos of the past 5 years. Number 5 is going to have to be the 2 videos that were shot with the Grand Canyon Railway 29 Trains Magazine photo charter in October of 2019. On her last 2 days of operation before 1472 day, I partook in a Trains Magazine photo charter, and I even got to see the 4960 as well perform a few run-bys on the second day. I'm not going to go into detail a lot with these, but I've said it a few times how I've always wanted to go out and see the Grand Canyon Railway, and finally getting out there and doing a photography charter was fantastic. And I look forward to the next time I do a photography charter at the Grand Canyon Railway. I will always try to attend those because I do think the Grand Canyon Railway is just a fantastic line, and 29 and 4960 are fantastic steamers. It was a great way for 29 to go out. Perfect lighting both days, and I can't wait for my next adventure there. I just wish I would have had a better camera at the time. That was also the time my first video camera broke. Fun fact. My number 4 video comes from 2018 and is of the Southern 630 and 4501 Somerville Steam Special 2018. This, I think, was my favorite video of 2018. When I did the top 5 videos, I didn't actually watch that. Oops. But hands down, I still got some of my favorite shots that day. I met the Nooga Railfan the year beforehand, but that was our first chase together, and we just had a fantastic time together. He recommended shots to me, and I'm glad he did because we got some fantastic shots. It was because of the fact everything that went wrong that, in my opinion, still made that day. There was about a 20 to 30 minute holdup at the junction that I forgot about. I forget exactly what it was, but I think it was because of a signal, and then the train kept stopping because of the air hose was breaking. And by the time they got the air hose fixed, that added on another hour. By the time they finally left, the sun had just moved to where normal afternoon backlit shots that would have been backlit with the sun actually worked. And because the train kept breaking down, we got some fantastic golden light shots of both 6:30 and 45:01, and it was a great way to actually end my vacations of 2018. There's another thing I want to point out, and I'm going to dare say this on this list. That video, hands down, was probably the most influential video on my channel. That was a day my style changed forever. Now, if you notice, from 2016 to 2018, I used to pan, and to a certain degree, I still do pan depending on the shot that I'm set up for. However, I was looking to take more stills. I used to screenshot my videos, and with what I shot with, the screenshots used to never really come out that well. The day beforehand, on the return leg, I realized that without panning, I could get better shots of the steam engine. And thus, on that day, my entire filming technique changed. Now, granted, the video I shot directly afterwards, I would pan one last time, and there would be some panning here and there. But pretty much ever since then, I have pretty much left the camera alone, and except for zoom outs, my video style has really not changed from that date, and I feel that is when my videos actually became quality. Some of you may disagree with me, but that's my opinion. My number 3 video comes from 2020 and is of the Southern 4501 Queen of the Missionary Ridge. This was the first steam locomotive I'd seen since the start of the pandemic and the situations of the world when things started reopening last year. At first I wasn't sure I was going to do it, but I decided to go down for 2 weekends straight. When I walked away, it was almost like the 765 video from 2021, where I walked away saying, darn, I think that's one of my favorite videos shot. Shooting classic angles that I'd gotten before 4501 and trying to get, trying to actually shoot, because for years I screenshot my photos instead of still photography. That was my first time I actually used my still photography. That was the first time my new camera had been down to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, and I'm glad that was the excursion I'm glad that to me was my favorite video of 2020, and it was probably wasn't my biggest video of 2020, but still, I just love the shots I got of the 4501 that day. My number 2 video, I'm not going to go into that much because I already did, and it is of Nickel Plate Road 765 Steam in the Valley 2021. And my favorite 3 videos from the past 5 years, and yes, the number 1 is split between 3 videos, is of the Iowa Interstate Truck to Illinois 2019. And there's just something still about those 3 videos that I love. The 2-day ferry move to Chillicothe, the Chillicothe excursions, and then of course there was the last day, which also started out with a ferry move because of issues the night beforehand with the engine, which were the excursions out of Anawan that ran to Geneseo. The day I got to hear the Grand Trunk Western, and the only time I've gotten to hear the Illinois Central 3 chime. It was just a fantastic time with friends. I still love the videos, where some of my earlier work I cringe over. They were just fantastic. Anyhow, that was my top 5 favorite videos over the past 5 years, and I apologize if I'm going through these a little quickly. I've already went into depth why these were my favorite videos, because I know all of these made my top 5 favorite list, so I feel the point of me going over it again is just a little redundant. Now this one I felt was fair to do, and this is of my top 5 least favorite videos over the past 5 years. Yes, over my 5 years, there's definitely got to be some videos that I did not look too fondly on, and some of these I made very clear after I shot them. Other ones came to me over time, and my top 1 is probably not going to surprise anyone who's really followed my channel over the past 5 years. My number 5 least favorite video shot would have to be the 2 videos of the Union Pacific 844 Cheyenne Frontier Days in 2018. Back when the 844 was my favorite steam locomotive, I really wanted to go all out for the Cheyenne Frontier Days. Got a little anxious about how to chase it and wasn't really sure how to chase the Cheyenne Frontier Days excursion because everyone told me it was a mess, and it was my first exposure to UP steam. So I really didn't know how to take it. So unfortunately, we made the decision to pretty much pace the 844 the entire 2 days, and I think that is my least favorite aspect of the locomotive. I think at speed, we only got 2 shots of 844 doing trackside. There was also a little incident while filming these videos, not the lady who died, where we had to make a run back to the hotel for Matt. And the mood was sour. It was the most insane thing we ever did, but Chris and I always said it was the Denver trip that killed us as a channel, and that really was the last time the 3 of us actually went somewhere together and were actually gung-ho on planning an adventure. That was also the last adventure we planned around a city before just going to where the steam trains were. So there is a little bit of that. It was the last of the original planned adventures, but just, I look back on those videos and I'm not afraid to admit, you know what, I need a better chance with 844. And hopefully within the next 5 years, I get another chance to go out and see the locomotive, because it still is on my top 5 favorite steam locomotives. My number 4 would have to be our plane spotting at Buffalo Airport on December 10th, 2016. So Chris did the plane spotting videos, and I think one of our strongest features in 2016 and even 2017 was the content of plane spotting videos we shot. I thought they genuinely were fantastic. But the one shot on December 10th, 2016 is my least favorite one. Me and Go had a fantastic chase with the Viscousse Company 6 that day, and that was the first time we really tried to actually film the Viscousse Company 6 at other spots other than the Pleasant Avenue depots in that Scott Street Yard area. And we also had snow. It was the first snow train I shot. But the plane spotting video, I think, and I haven't even watched it, even editing it, I was like, oh my god, this is garbage, why am I including it? Buffalo Airport's a neat place to be at night. It really is cool. But this video, I think we only caught one plane, and it really was like, I don't even know why we went up to the airport. Chris literally said to me, we're going to the airport, and here's the video. Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything more on that video. My number 3 of my top 5 least favorite would have to be the Viscousse Company 6 fall videos of 2016. There was probably 2 videos from that whole venture I really liked. And then pretty much the rest of them were pretty cringe. Yeah, we shot these without tripods because Chris didn't like tripods, and I kind of noticed how our quality suffered. And I really only focused around the Scott Street Yard area. This is also when I was new to chasing. I didn't know how many spots I could get with the Viscousse Company 6 on that excursion. So I picked one spot, and that was pretty much it. And a lot of these videos were cringe, and I cringe over the fact of these to this day. So there's that. I think the quality of the video stands out for it. You definitely know which videos we probably shouldn't have released, and the shots just got over redundant, and yeah. There are some that are good in my opinion, and I will admit the Viscousse Company 6 is really on the Buffalo, Cattaraugus, and Jamestown Scenic Railroad is really where we got our feet for chasing, and our style of videography, but yeah, they were all pretty bad. I'm not even going to try and defend it, except 2. My number 2 might shock some people because it is my most popular video of my channel, and it was a slow start, but it really just kind of blew up, and it is of the Paramarquette 1225 Kerwin Highlander 2017. Now, I remember in 2017 when I said that this video was my favorite video, but over time it's become probably one of my least favorite videos. It was still when I was new to the chasing field, and instead of keeping the mentality I learned from chasing the 611, this was probably my first all-day excursion I chased since the 611 in 2017, and it was just pretty bad. I kept cutting after the train passed after a few coaches, and instead of actually making a quality video, I really think I made a bad video. There is no redeeming qualities in this video, other than it was my first real chase of the 1225, actually pulling an all-day excursion. I think I did better in the 2018 edition, and yeah, I stand by that statement. My number 1 least favorite video of my top 5 least favorite videos is going to have to be the Frisco 1630 and IRM Yard in July of 2017. Now, it's often been talked about that our second trip together, the Chicago trip, was plagued with issues. A personal thing happened a few days beforehand, and I will be at liberty to say it happened at work. At my last job. Funny story. So, by the time Saturday rolled, we just wanted to get home. Nothing went right. And I kind of regret the fact we didn't stick around to shoot the 1630. We were under the misunderstanding of when they'd leave with the first train, and while we got home at 9 o'clock that night, and I mean, I flew home, this video speaks for itself. It should have never been uploaded, but I wanted to upload it just to say, hey, I did shoot the 1630, but it was a terrible video. It is, hands down, it is my least favorite video. I absolutely hate going back to it, and I hate going back to even thinking about that day, because if we would have kept the trip plans original, probably we would have had a great last day out in the Chicagoland area, but we didn't, and we regret it to this day. However, I was able to make up for that fact in 2018 and in 2021. While there is no plans to visit the Illinois Railway Museum this year, sometimes I think about taking it down, but I like leaving up my older work, especially so you can see how we've evolved over the years. And that was my top 5 least favorite videos that we've shot over the past 5 years. Alright, so to conclude this video, I'm now going to review my top 5 favorite adventures over the past 5 years. My number 5 is going to have to be the Reading and Northern 425 Labor Day Adventures of 2020. The 425 videos of 2020 were my biggest videos I put the most amount of effort into, because it was, number one, it was something other than Strasburg. Number 2, I didn't actually expect to see one of my top 5 favorite steam locomotives last year, so to actually be able to go to the Reading and Northern was fantastic, especially seeing how a lot of people, including myself, thought the Lehigh Gorge excursions were done. 425, as usual, did fantastic, but that wasn't the reason why I loved the adventure. It was the camaraderie with all of the friends I saw over the time there. We had a fantastic time, and if you know anything about the Lehigh Gorge, it really is one shot. You pick a spot, you wait for the train to come, you wait for the train to leave, and getting to see everyone over the course of 2 weekends, even though I said Labor Day, I am grouping in 2 weekends there, it was just fantastic. My number 4 would have to be the Grand Canyon Railway 29 photo charter. Being one of my bucket list lines for years, finally being able to go to the railroad was great, and it, like, literally blew away all of my expectations, and the people that were there were great too, and it was just a fun time. And actually being that far out west was also great too, especially the fast food. One thing I wanted to do here, and I didn't really know how to articulate it into words when I first recorded this video, was I did want to try and show more of the adventure pieces of the adventures that I went on why I said these were my top 5 favorites. For the Reading and Northern, I didn't really have any of me and my friends video-wise, but for the Grand Canyon Railway adventure, one of the things I loved, as I said, was being that far out west. And something that I do love, and I have not been to in a while, is I love going to aquariums. I absolutely love the oceans, and I really like any body of water, and I like the life forms down there. Sharks have interested me, squids, octopuses, whales. So one thing that I've always tried to stop at, and I did that every year successfully until 2020, is I love going to aquariums. So in the early years of the channel, we went to the aquarium in Cleveland, Chicago, Chattanooga, Denver, and I went to the one in Phoenix. Right here, because I still have the master at it, here is the entirety of the Phoenix Aquarium. I didn't listen to the audio, but I cut it out. I was between going to the aquarium and going to see the Santa Fe 484 Northern, which was west of where my hotel was in Williams, but I decided to go to the aquarium because by the time I would have gotten to the 484 Northern, it would have been pushing dark, and I had a lot of fun going through the aquarium in Phoenix. So I hope you enjoy, and I apologize if this next bit of footage is silent. My number 3 would have to be the first trip we ever took as a channel, the Pennsylvania-Ohio 2016 trip. This was nuts what we did, and I'm still trying to figure out how we did that to this day, driving all the way to PA and then cutting all the way back to Ohio. But the amount of territory we covered and everything else amongst 4 good friends, it was really a fantastic day. And even if it wasn't a channel adventure at that time, there's still memories of that trip that, while I play that over here, was just fantastic. It really was a great time, and I'm glad that that's kind of what set everything into motion. So for those wondering, did I lose the master footage from the early trips? And the simple answer is no. I pretty much was able to burn everything onto Blu-ray from 2016 to the Tennessee Valley Rail Fest 2017. Now, I don't have a converter to get it back onto my computer, and I'm unsure if Chris still has any of the master files. For this, which I did know I still had all of, I wanted to use photos from the trip, and instead of showing the usual video clips, I wanted to show behind the scenes photos. And I wanted to show the adventures that did not make it to our channel, like the Toledo Zoo, the Cleveland Aquarium, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I tried to also include a few shots of us. Unfortunately, all the group photos included Go. Not that that is a problem, but because of the fact that Go's identity was never officially revealed on the channel, I intend to keep it that way. So here is some of the behind the scenes from our first adventure and some of the places that did not make it to the channel. I hope you enjoy this. My number 2 would have to be the Western Maryland Scenic 1309 debut. It was almost like the Labor Day video of 2021. Just the general atmosphere of finally seeing 1309 was great, but the atmosphere of finally going to the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad was something else. This was another bucket list railroad I've been waiting to go to since I was a kid. And of course, I've said it many times, my number 1 favorite adventure still is the Iowa Interstate 6988, the Trek to Illinois excursions. I don't know what it was about those excursions, but to this day in my book, it was just the people there. Sometimes it's the people that makes these adventures. And the people on that trip, we just had one heck of a time together. Anyhow, that's a 2021 in review video. Stay tuned for the best of rail fanning videos. Stay tuned for the vlog videos, or what I like to call them, the memory videos. Stay tuned for director's cuts. And hopefully these will be some of our last 1080p videos, and we'll finally be solid 4K. I'm Christian. Happy New Year's, everyone, and hope 2022 is a great year. There will be no February update unless I really feel I need to do an update video. These update style videos are definitely going to be less and less. So, I'm Christian. Have a good New Year.